I think we should have strong border security. It doesn't make sense for us to allow hundreds of thousands of people coming through our borders without us knowing who they are, oftentimes in very hazardous situations and unmonitored situations that could do us long-term damage. I think we should have a serious employer verification system where employers, when they hire somebody, find out what their work status is. Are they able to work here legally? Right now, what employers will say is, well, we check their Social Security card. That's the best we can do. So we've got to set up a tamper-proof system and then hold employers accountable. I'm not particularly impressed with raids on plants that grab a handful of undocumented workers and send them home, leaving the company in a position where it can just hire the next batch. And I don't think we've been serious about employer sanctions. It requires that we set up a verification system that they can rely on, but then we've got to hold them accountable. So that's step number 2. And then step number 3 is, I do believe, and this for some is the most controversial part, that we've got to have a pathway to citizenship for the 12 million people or so who are already here. The notion that we are going to round up 12 million people is unrealistic. It would require us to devote all our law enforcement resources to that task. Many of these families have children who are U.S. citizens. It would, I think, distort our country in ways that are far more damaging than the presence of undocumented workers right now. And I do think that the structure that's been set up that says you pay a fine, you learn English, you stay out of trouble, you've got a job, you go to the back of the line so that those who came here legally, that backlog is cleared before you have opportunities for citizenship. That is a reasonable approach, and one that will ultimately address the biggest problem for American workers, and that is the depressive effect of undocumented workers who aren't right now subject to oftentimes minimum wage laws or worker safety laws or all the other things that make them cheaper for employers. If they're out of the shadows, then we can make sure those laws are enforced and those cost advantages for hiring undocumented workers go away.